Welcome to On the Issues. I'm Irman Lauter, Chair of the Board of Selectmen, and today we'll discuss what's coming up on our Board of Selectmen meetings. Plus, I have a special guest with me today, Chief Michael Peraino. And we will talk about policing in Hingham, and I think everybody now knows that Mike is retiring at the end of the first quarter next year. So we're going to miss him very much, but we're going to take a stroll through Hingham based on his career. So first, let's talk about issues coming up. First thing we're going to do is congratulate the girls soccer team on their fabulous win, state champions now of their division, and also congratulate the boys soccer team for a great season. And we look forward to all the teams next year when our sports starts again. Also, CPC, we've had two meetings, the 12th and the 19th. They're on HCAM, and I invite everybody to watch those to get a very good feel for the projects that you all are going to be voting on at town meeting this year. Some really exciting ones, some very interesting ones as well. So please watch the shows so that you can be very well informed as we go through the process of preparing for town meeting. Secondly, during December, the selectmen's meetings will be concentrating on our budgeting and going through most of the budgets, which we'll vote on everything but education sometime in January. But this will be your first look as taxpayers into what the budget's going to look like for the next year. Also, the December 4th meeting, we will have Aquarian Water Company coming in for their quarterly report, and I'm sure one of the issues they're going to be addressing is our unaccounted for water. They've had a team in here, both in Hingham and Hull, looking for all of the leaks, and it'll be interesting to see what the news will be. And the last thing, I think I've already mentioned CPC, probably one of the biggest issues you're going to hear this year in the discussion is all-day kindergarten. And we'll be looking for, and there's some great shows on HCAM now, talking about all-day kindergarten. We're going to be looking for what's it going to cost, and is it sustainable, and how do we deliver the product. So please stay tuned to all of the selectmen's meetings. School committee has been televising a great deal as well. So now, without further ado, let me introduce someone that everybody knows and that I'm extremely fond of and hate to see him retire, but I'm happy he is, Chief Michael Peraino. So welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me on the show. And it's a good opportunity to talk to the people of town.
Chief, what I'd like you to do, take us way back to the beginning when you started, and we have some photographs. Mike he will autograph them after for people. Yeah. But take us all the way back to the beginning, and along the way, tell us how policing in Hingham has changed. And then also when we hit the DARE piece, if you could talk a little bit about the challenges our young people face yesterday and today. So take us back to the beginning.
Well, it all began in January 3rd of 1978 when myself, Paul Healy, and Mark Gillespie, who is a lieutenant for the T-Police right now, we got hired and went to the police academy. And right off the bat, we were treated with to find out that this was not going to be a very easy job because we had the blizzard of '78. And the blizzard of '78 came in, and I remember going to work that day, and I didn't go home for 3 days after that because what was happening is a lot of the officers couldn't get in. So the ones that were there stayed. And I remember actually sleeping in the jail cell to get some sleep.
Oh, that was the old
police
station.
Yes, on Lincoln Street.
Oh my
yes.
Gosh.
And that's when I first realized that the jail cells are not very comfortable to sleep in. But to get your sleep, that's what you did. But it was pretty cool. I mean, it was we actually had residents who lend us snowmobiles, and that's how we were getting around. And one of my assignments was to check out Hingham Square to make sure that all the buildings were okay. And I actually went around on a snowmobile. It was pretty neat. And being the rookie, they had me do it. So, but and my by the third day, I was actually down in the town of Hull with mutual aid, and working with the National Guard down there, and it was a mess down there. Really, I've never seen so much snow in Hingham, but going down there, the water was just incredible. And I actually worked with the National Guard, and one of our assignments was to go down each street in Hull and pop off the hoods of the roofs of cars to make sure nobody was inside, because they had reports that people may have froze to death in the cars. Fortunately, we didn't find any, so that was good. And for food down there, we took some lobsters off the street, went to the Hull fire station and cooked them up. So and they were still kicking. So that was my introduction to police work in the town of Hingham.
Welcome to the Hingham Police Department.
Yeah, it was quite an experience, but it was good. And you know, we've come a long way since then. I mean, when I look back, when I started on the job, we did not have bulletproof vests.
Oh my.
We didn't have portable radios. There was no air conditioning in the cruisers, no AM/FM radios. There was
No cell phones?
no cell phones either. No.
How did we exist?
I know. I look back, and I remember when I first came on the job. When you were a rookie, and for your first year, most of it was you would walk the beat. And so I worked midnight to 8, my first 7 years on the job.
Wow. Who was the chief?
The Chief Campbell. Chief Campbell was the chief that hired me, and he was quite a character. And he would he would be very insistent that when you did your walking beat, that everything was checked thoroughly. So we would have to go around and hand check our doors. And one night in the summertime, I was about 3 in the morning. I was sitting on the stairs of the school department building, which is now a law office across from Brood Awakenings. And I was sitting there, and it was so quiet you could hear everything in the square. That's why I would sit there after I did all my checks. And I heard some glass break. And I went over, and it turned out to be the old Colonial. That somebody broke into the back of the old Colonial Bar and Grill, and the person was still in there, and I had no portable radio, so I had to run over to the call box, call the station, and tell them I had a B&E in progress at the Colonial and that I needed backups. I ran back to the Colonial, and as I got back there, the guy was coming out of the building, and the foot chase was on, and I ended up catching him down by Station Street, but I couldn't let the guys didn't know where I was because I had no portable, So they ended up finding me, and we arrested the guy. But so it just shows you the change in policing back then and now.
And the Colonial is now the Snug.
That's right.
Yep. I remember it as the Colonial when we first moved here.
Yeah.
And it was a character place.
It was.
Yes.
It was a local bar.
Hangout.
Yeah, it was. And so that was that was my first arrest was that one there, and Chief Campbell loved me for that, because we caught the guy. So it actually was my ticket to get into a cruiser. So once you made a big arrest like that, the chief would reward you and let you ride in a cruiser. So
what kind of cruisers were we using then? Because that has changed dramatically.
Yes, way back. Back then we were using Chevys and Dodges, and it was again, there was no comforts of home in those cars, and they were gas guzzlers, And when I came on, this was the time when the fire department took over with the ambulance.
Oh, okay.
So and before I came on, we used to have station wagons, and that's when we got medical aid calls. We put people in the back of the police cars in the station wagons.
And now the ambulances are mini emergency rooms with advanced life support.
Yeah, and we have, I think we have 3 now in Hingham, so it just shows you how much more action there has been for the fire department and the EMTs.
Do you want to show the first picture?
Yeah, the first picture is one that just shows me in my first year, and it has me on the radio, and I look back and I had a lot of hair back then. So times have changed.
And that's the one I think we're all going to line up and get him to autograph, with Linda's permission, of course.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what back in around that time, I was a single guy back then. So this is what I call BL before Linda. But it was
And it looks like you all had leather jackets.
Yeah, back then it was, we all wore leather jackets and
No bulletproof vests.
no bulletproof vests. And, you know, it was, you know, that was what we wore. You know, they were comfortable, but in the wintertime, you know, when the weather got colder, they were cold to wear, you know, but.
What were the biggest problems in Hingham back then?
Back then, believe it or not, we still had issues with drunk drivers. We used to make a lot of drunk driving arrests back then too, and it was we had a lot of serious car crashes. And again, back then, cars didn't have seatbelts.
Oh
so
my gosh, that's true.
Yeah, so we had so a lot of the car crashes back then were serious because people didn't have seatbelts on and going through windshields and stuff, and you know, so that's why nowadays we have all these protections. And you know, one of the things I always told my students when I taught DARE was that out of hundreds of car accidents I've gone to, I've never ever had to unbuckle a dead person. You know, so always wear the seat belts, because some people think now with the airbags, oh, you don't have to wear a seat belt, but the two have to work together. We've had some accidents now where people just had, you know, use the airbags and they get injured because the airbags just go right into their face, you know. So back then you saw a lot of really serious accidents that shouldn't have been serious because we didn't have the safety measures we have in our cars today, you know. But we had, you know, we had issues with building breaks, you know, breaking into buildings. The beauty of back then was you didn't have the crowded roadways that we have today. I mean, Hingham is just so been built up, and the whole South Shore. We didn't have the traffic that we have today, and there was a lot of woods in Hingham, you know. So you know, back then we used to have a lot of issues with stolen cars. They'd be dumped in the woods in Hingham, you know. So but we don't have many stolen cars anymore, you know.
What were the biggest issues the young people faced back then?
Back then, it was the issues. Well, one of the issues was the drinking age was 18. I remember when I graduated from Hingham High School, the drinking age was 18, and I do remember that summer that I graduated from high school, I lost 2 classmates in car crashes with drinking and driving.
Wow.
You know, so that's part of the reason why the drinking age is at 21 now, is because of what we went through back in those days. It was mayhem out in the roads. People were just drinking and driving like crazy. And there was a big, when the age was going to 21, there was a lot of negative discussions about why we raising the age to 21, because when I was in high school, the Vietnam War was going on.
Yep.
And there was a lot of controversy. Geez, you can go to Vietnam and get killed, but you can't have a beer. And but it took a little while, but if the age did finally get raised. It was bad back then, really bad. You know.
And go to the second picture. Equally good.
Yeah.
Now, when was that?
This was in 19. This is after a few years on the job. It was 1981, and that was the year we were doing an ad book for the police department. We used to have a policeman's ball every year, and then we did this ad book, and so they went around. The ad company took pictures of every officer, you know, just a picture of every guy, and then we had a picture of the whole department.
How big was the department back then? Do you remember?
Yeah, we had, yes, I do remember, because we're doing the budgets now, and, and I'm looking back at all my stats, and yeah, we had 58 officers back then.
Really?
Yes, we did. We had, that was the most we ever had, and back then we had 2-man cars, a lot of it because of the fact that, you know, the safety issues. But yeah, 58 officers back then, and now we just got up to 53, and for a while they were down at 43, 44.
I remember.
During the bad times,
Yep.
you know, and so we're getting back there to where we should be.
Because I remember on some of my years on advisory, you were desperately needing officers, and there was no money.
They're right, I know.
But the good news is we didn't have to lose anybody.
Right, yeah, it was all through attrition back then. We
Yeah.
didn't lay anybody off. You know, which brings me back to 1980. Which is when we did lay off officers, because Proposition 2.5 came through, and we actually laid off 6 officers. And I remember I was right near the cut. You know, there was one officer after me. It was Jim Taylor.
Oh,
And
no.
then,
Oh, my.
he was the cutoff. And then the other officers got, there was a
Thank
number of
goodness we
officers got
kept
laid
both
off.
of you.
Yeah, and those officers ended up getting their jobs back. But I remember when the whole 2.5 proposition was being, forecast out there, and they were saying you're going to lose so many firefighters, so many school teachers, so many police officers, and we all didn't think that would ever happen, and it did. And when it did, it was a shocker for everybody. That's when they closed down Central Junior High, and
I remember
now it's
that.
a town hall. So it was, so that was, a big moment. But fortunately, everybody got their jobs back.
It's really great that we were able to save the Central and turn it into the town hall, because it's
that was such
spectacular.
a great idea. And of course, from us moving from, the slums of the police station that we had to move, we felt we were moving from the slums to the penthouse there when we finally got to town hall. And I remember I was on the police department for 12 years before we moved over to Central Street, and I never had a locker in the police station, never had one. All
I
the
don't know
senior guys did.
how you all existed in the old police station.
I know, when you look back, it was
Very
just
cramped.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I said, you didn't have any, I didn't have a locker, and, back in those days, things are a lot different now, but I'd be bringing evidence home because I didn't have a place to put it. Guys put in their lockers, I didn't have a locker, so I was happy to come to the new station. I got a locker, so, but I would say one of the turning points for my career was becoming the town's first DARE officer.
Oh, good. Let's move into and let's show the picture
Yeah,
of the first DARE car.
The first
Oh,
DARE
my.
car is that was a Dodge Neon, and that was in 1994. And I was the town's first DARE officer, and Weber Dodge, they were a new dealership in town, and they wanted to be involved in the community. And so I went down and I talked to Mr. Weber, and Walter Weber was a great guy, and
Yeah.
and he donated the Dodge Neons. It was the first year that they were coming out, so they wanted to promote them. So I got the Dodge Neon as my first DARE car, and I had it for a couple of years, and then I got into a serious car accident in Main and High. No lights back then, okay? And what happened was a dump truck with a backhoe on the back of it did not stop for the stop sign.
Wow.
And came into my DARE car, and it just crushed me. I mean, if I had had a passenger, that passenger wouldn't have lived. By the time he pushed me right across, he was coming down High Street, pushed me right across to the front lawn of the house on the corner of Main and Free, and the front grille of his truck was in my passenger seat. And thank God I had my seatbelt on, because I could feel myself going to get thrown out of that
Wow.
car. So after that car crash, I said to Mr. Weber, I need a bigger car.
I need a
And-
slightly safer car.
Yes, and so he came up with a Dodge Intrepid.
Oh,
So I
okay.
ended up getting the Dodge Intrepid, which was the car I used, because I ended up being a DARE officer for 13 years. And then when I got promoted to sergeant, the reins were passed on to Officer Ramsey. And so, and as you never know whose people's lives you're affecting when you're in that doing your job. And what we had was a family. I got a call from an attorney saying that a family had left a large amount of money to the DARE program for a car. So we ended up getting a Prius, a Toyota Prius, which is electric car.
Yep.
And that's what Officer Ramsey drives right now. But it turned out that the people that donated the money were the grandparents of a student I had in DARE.
That's
so,
amazing.
Yeah.
Now, how many of our current officers are your DARE students? That's
Yeah.
something to be so proud of.
I am, and it's just so cool. Is I have 14 right now, and it's been easy because when you interview the officers, I've known them since they were in 6th grade, and so we've been really really lucky to have a number of the officers that I actually taught in DARE. So it's pretty cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it is.
That's
it is.
wonderful.
My
Yeah.
first DARE class, as a matter of fact, Eric from HCAM, Eric Dresser, he was in my first DARE class. And so the group that I had my first class are 32, 33 years old, you know, so.
Babies.
Yeah, and they still call me Officer Peraino, you know, so.
And you have a wonderful group of DARE officers now. Do you want to name them?
Yeah, well, we all call them school resource officers.
Oh, sorry, school
Okay,
resource
we have,
officers.
Tom Ford is at Hingham
Yep.
High School. Rob Ramsey's a DARE officer at middle school. We've got Officer John Marquardt, who's doing our elementaries, and Officer Joel Salatori is up at Notre Dame Academy. So we're one of the few towns that can put those resources to our schools.
And they
you know.
pay great dividends.
Yes,
Do you
they
want to
do.
fast forward a little bit and talk about the challenges the young people face today, and especially with the drugs?
Yeah, the drugs problem right now is probably the worst I've ever seen it, and it's mainly because of the heroin. And you know, we've seen you know, how it's affected Hingham is that, you know, we get our house breaks, we get our stores robbed, bank robberies. The common factor is all these people are heroin addicts. So education now for these children is just so important. It's just so they understand the consequences if they get involved with these drugs. Because unfortunately with people who get addicted to heroin, one or two things are going to happen. They're going to go to jail or they could die. It's very, very tough to get off of heroin. You know, so the pressures of children today is a lot different than we were growing up. It's just, you know, not only that, they get the internet and social media. That's a new area of crime that we're involved in now.
The bullying.
The bullying, and people,
Yep.
you know, think that they can say stuff on the internet, and it's going to, you know, they're going to be held accountable for it. You know, so that's definitely a new area which we've gotten into. The scams, you know, the poor elderly, those are the ones that fall for it. Every week we're hearing some, you know, attempt on a scam. You know,
And they're very creative.
Oh, they are. My own mother has been attempted to get scammed. You know, and it's just it's sad because some of the elderly people, they fall for it. You know, and then they never get the money back because it's going overseas. You know, so but Hingham has changed dramatically. We're very, very busy. We've had, you know, with the increase of the derby shops, the shipyard is still ongoing. We're definitely increasing our calls for service, but Hingham's really an attractive town for people to come live and shop, and that's what we want. You know.
And of course that attracts some unsavory segments that
and that's part of the,
which is why we need you all.
Yeah, that's part of the, you know, when we do catch people, you know, when we talk to them, and the people that break into these houses, you know, they talk. They say, you know, if you come to Hingham, Duxbury, Cohasset, you break into a house there, you're going to get some good stuff. You know, so we are an attraction in that respect too.
How about the last picture?
The last picture was that's kind of like my my favorite.
Oh, wait a minute, that's another DARE picture.
Oh yeah, this is another DARE picture.
Yep.
This is just me doing being at the school. I always mingle with the kids out in the playground, and then.
And I was there for that one.
Yeah, the last picture is like kind of like my favorite. You go to this job, and you know, you hope to reach the top someday, and you know, I strive for that, and I was able to do it, and to become the chief of police, and very proud of it. I'm very happy with my department. They're just a great group. They're a very young group, but they're very proactive, and that's why I even applied for the chief's job, was because I had been supervisor to all of these officers at one point, and so I knew what I was getting, and and they haven't let me down, and that'll be the one thing that you know I'm going to miss is when I do leave is that camaraderie with all the officers that I've watched them grow up, and you know, but it's been a great run, and that last picture is my wife pinning me the night I made chief, and you know, it was a very happy moment for us, and.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was great, you know, and it was very humbling, and that's why 37 years and the last 4 as chief. It's been a great ride. You know, it's been just a wonderful town to live in, work in, and you know.
You know, it seems like yesterday that you were made chief. It really does.
I know.
4 years.
It does. It has flown by, And,
I had hoped to talk Mike out of retiring and staying for a while. Unfortunately, I have to negotiate with Linda.
Yes, yes.
Which even I am not brave enough to do that.
Yeah, no, she's been by my side during all this, our whole career. It's not easy being a police officer's wife, but so it's her time too. So while we're healthy, we want to enjoy life.
I think that's great. Tell it, what are your plans for retirement?
Well, first of all, I'm actually looking forward to having my first summer off since high school. I'll actually be able to watch a parade instead of working one. Out of the 37 parades, I've worked 36th. The one I missed was when my daughter Heather was born on July 3rd, so I missed that parade. But it's going to be different. We purchased a home up in New Hampshire, which we've had about a year, and I think I've been up there like 4 or 5 times. So I'm really looking forward to spending time up there, enjoying New Hampshire and all it has to offer. I've always wanted to get into golf. I just really never had the time, and I've had some opportunities to teach. So at the college level. So and
you will be a fantastic teacher.
Yeah. So there's options to do. And that's why I just want to enjoy the summer, and then enjoy my granddaughter Madison, who just turned 9 months. So it's going to be a different experience, but you know what? I'm looking forward to it.
You are going to be so missed by everybody.
Oh, thank you.
But
thank
a
you.
long and great career.
Yeah.
Really, and you're not going very far anyway.
No, I'll be, like I said, I'll still be staying down here and just spending a little more time up in New Hampshire, but I just love this area so much. And, so my parents raised me, went through Hingham schools, and, my mom's still here. And she won't have to listen to the scanner anymore once I retire.
If she's hooked on it like we are.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
She'll be listening.
Yeah, she's a big supporter, and this is my opportunity to thank the Citizens Police Academy alumni. It's been a great program. They're always helping the police department, and they've always had a special part in my heart.
And I know that you were very instrumental in growing that program.
Yeah, it was definitely it's something we wanted to do, and it's really expanded like crazy now. Now we're doing Linden Ponds.
That's I don't know if everybody knows that. There's now, they run kind of concurrent.
They do.
There's one at Town Hall, and then there's one at Linden Ponds.
And they were always sold out, and we've got the alumni at both, one at Linden Ponds and at the police station too. And these people are constantly helping us out with our community policing
Couldn't
projects.
ask for anything better.
No, it's awesome. It's been.
Well, Chief, we wish you the best, and Linda and your family.
Well, thank you very
but
much.
But you will be so missed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And you've left such a legacy with the kids that are now grown up and are officers with us, but also the young people that went into the military, because I know we've got quite a few of those that are DARE graduates.
Yes. Yeah.
But all the kids whose lives you've touched and your support of the School Resource Officer Program, got it right this time.
Yes, very good.
You're making a difference in their lives very much, and also the officers that you've picked are so suited for their job.
Well, thank you.
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you all for joining us for this segment of On the Issues. And please watch the Selectmen's meetings, and please educate yourself on budgets and warrant articles for town meeting. It's your tax dollars, and you elected us to watch over them, but you need to participate too and let us know what you feel about budgets and warrant articles. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again.